Hey, Chris, check it out. It's our 69th episode.
69, that's funny.
69. Nice.
Hey, guys, am I in the right stream here? Are we good?
What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And it is Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. That means it is time for us to talk about some movies, the movie news stuff. How are y'all doing tonight?
You're still not used to that.
Here's the thing. Like, if we make any slightest change to, like, how the show production-wise goes, I'm just, like, completely thrown off. I'm like, okay, what are we doing tonight now? Oh, that's right. It's the 69th episode. Nice.
So that's going to get old real quick, isn't it?
It might. Whatever. So thank y'all for being here as we start the show. I see Commentating Nerd in the chat. Thank you for being here, sir. Also, if y'all have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, send them to streamlabs.com/cinefanatics, the best place for that. There's also the YouTube super chat is also available, but Streamlabs is the more preferred.
Please direct all of them to our manager at streamlabs.com.
And they will get back to you as soon as humanly possible.
Post haste.
Yeah. Also, guys, patreon.com/cinefanatics. Hop on the Patreon, choose a tier that's good for you. We got stuff coming up this month. I don't know why, or I don't know what yet, because it's the first of the month. And as Bone Thugs and Harmony said back in the 90s, we got to go cash our checks and whatever.
I knew you would go. It's a very niche reference that most of our audience probably will not understand.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, let's be honest. I turned 40 in a couple of days. I'm really surprised I can still, like, quote Bone Thugs and Harmony in, like, my day-to-day going-ons, which I don't usually. But anyways, beside the point.
Shut up, nerd. Anyway.
Anyways, so yeah, all that stuff out of the way. Let's bring on a guest. We got a guest with us tonight because we're going to be talking about some horror stuff. We're going to do a review for Candyman. So a lot of fun conversation. So we will bring on our guest. It is Miss Torie Rose. What's going on, Torie?
Well, how are we doing? I'm so happy I'm on the 69th episode. You have no idea. It's an honor, truly. I'd like to accept my award now.
So real quick behind the scenes. So we asked Torie to be a guest on this episode, and then it was we got the groundwork planned for this, and then turn around like, oh, hey, Chris, this is going to be our 69th episode. This is going to be a little weird.
Like, whoops, didn't plan that at all.
Whoopsies.
Totally on purpose.
Torie, your being here has nothing to do with being the 69th episode at all.
That's,
so,
definitely keep harping on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, let me see. Let's get into some personal stuff. Torie, since you are a guest here, what would you like to say to our amazing audience? Introduce yourself or...
Yeah, my name is Torie. I am a person. I'm alive. Yeah, I've never actually been on a stream thing before, so if I crash and burn, I figured I would wear my strawberry necklace, and then, like, at the very worst, that's how they would remember me, is that, that girl really fucked up on the video, but she wore a cute necklace, so that's it. Oh yeah, I can't curse.
Nailed it. Just completely nailed it right there off the bat.
I already... That will never happen again. So that was good. I made it through.
Where's Jordan? Get it out of the way.
Yeah. Besides that, I'm super excited. I saw Candyman, and I'm excited to talk about that. I saw the first What If episode that I have personally seen was the one that is the most recent one. So I'm excited to talk about that as well.
It's a good episode to get started with.
It's true.
There should be a swear jar.
Maybe we might have to like create one or something like that.
What's the one like the Twitch streamers? They usually have like something like in the little corner, and you see like the money falling into it as people are donating.
That's like bits or whatever. Like people do that with their bits on Twitch.
Tyler, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I just wish you would have said like we're 69 episodes in and you're only just now complimenting my beautiful face. So interesting.
He was talking about me.
Whatever, Mr. I grow facial hair.
Absolutely.
Look at us. Out of the two of us, come on. Who tans
facial hair looks good, I'm telling you.
Okay, so guys, coming up on the Cinefanatics, so shows, stuff we have coming up. I know tomorrow night we will be enjoying Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, so expect a review for that, probably up on Friday, because I've got to work, and that will be kind of fun to pump that out sometime after Thursday night. So that is coming, and then just stay tuned to the Cinefanatics Twitter, Cinefanatics MLP, for more updates as to what we have coming out as they come out. So anyways, so Torie, thank you for being here. We appreciate
dropping
you.
The first curse word, it breaks the ice.
It was bound to happen.
It was
I mean, you can't stop human beings from breathing. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to get to before we start getting into what all we're going to talk about tonight, guys, I have I believe a birthday coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, you're getting old,
and it's a big one. Yeah. I don't want to say exactly what it is, just because, like, not that I'm afraid of like revealing what my age is, but
he's turning 21. He's turning 21.
Exactly. But
it's a big deal.
It begins with a 4 and ends with a 0. Okay, it's
420. Yeah, smoke up.
I mean, so I'm trying to figure out what to do. Those of y'all watching this on a replay or something, if y'all have any ideas, I feel like doing like maybe a long stream, much like my brother did for his birthday, but like
not on Twitch.
Not on Twitch. So not on Twitch, and probably with a lot more guests coming on screen or something. So I know what you two are thinking. Stop it. So yeah, if y'all have any ideas, let us know in the chat or the comments down below. Anyways, how's y'all's weeks going?
It's going pretty good so far. Pretty good,
Pretty good.
Usual. Yeah.
Texas.
The thrilling conversation, guys. Just edge of your seat excitement here.
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, which I feel like Chris also does. That's the life.
Yeah,
we just exist in the Pokemon world.
Yeah, he does it and, like, I guess gets paid for it. I guess that's a cool job.
I do it for nothing. I just torture myself with hours long of weird Pokemon things I do.
You know how long it took me to catch this Squirtle? I have nothing to show for it except a Squirtle.
Oh, okay, you did say Squirtle. I thought you said squirrel for a second. I was like, squirrel's a real animal.
He definitely said squirrel, unless it was the accent.
It's the Squirtle. That's the accent on Squirtle.
Squirtle.
Yeah, like a part of that. Like you just lost a what is it called? I am blanking on it.
Letting you sit in it.
Just syllable.
Roll around in this right now.
I'm blanking on a syllable. That's what it was.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Anyways, guys, it's been a fun week. Enjoying it. Still working from home. Haven't filled up my gas tank in like roughly almost a month now, and I'm kind of liking this.
Lucky.
You heard about my gas story. I don't have to pay for gas anymore.
Oh yeah.
Random men just walk up to me and pay for my gas.
That is awesome.
Lucky.
I mean, it would be nice if like people would just walk up to me and like offer to pay for my gas.
Could you imagine if a man walked up to you and was like, "Hey, you're too cute to pay for your own gas," and just handed you a $20 bill?
I would accept it. I would accept that so fast.
So
you're right, I am too cute. Thank you.
I feel like that's a world where I do not live in, and I have no idea how how to begin living in that world. So all I am left to do is just to ponder.
Tonight, we ask what is, what was, and what could be. But the most important question of all, what if we liked this episode?
Guys, what if came out today? What if I could get paid to pump my own gas or whatever? That'd be great. But what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
I was curious about that for a second because I thought they actually literally meant his heart.
I did too when I read it. Yeah.
You're like, so what if, like, this episode's like 38 minutes long. I feel like if he lost his heart, he would just die. Why do I need 38 minutes? Yeah. Why do I need 38 minutes to explain what happens to a human body when a heart is no longer pumping blood and oxygen through the through the vessels and whatnot?
The zombie Doctor Strange.
Spoiler.
That's actually coming. That is coming soon. There is going to be. I feel like it's probably going to be the last episode of this first season of What If. They're gonna touch upon the Marvel Zombies storyline, which was super popular in the comics. So
wait, is that a real thing?
Yeah, Marvel Zombies. Yeah. There was like
die for an episode of What If of Marvel Zombies.
We're gonna get it
then.
Yeah. They did like a couple of different storylines in the comics coming from this like Marvel zombie universe. Even at one point, Ash from the Evil Dead movies was going in and fighting the Marvel zombies. So like I want to see that. I want to see that movie. You got Marvel, you got Sam Raimi. I mean, you could get Bruce Campbell in there. Just make a movie of like Ash versus the Marvel Zombies. That is going to sell tickets like crazy.
That would be so fun. Yeah, I needed that.
That should be like the next like Avengers movie, like way down the line. But yeah, let's talk about this episode that came out today because this was a huge episode. Again, no real spoilers here on this, even though I mean, I feel like this one's really hard to spoil without like, I mean, obviously if you just explain the plot of the whole episode, but otherwise there's not really anything giving away. It's an alternate dimension, which all these what ifs are alternate dimensions. That what would happen in this dimension had, instead of he get into a car accident and lose the use of his hands, as we saw in the movie, that he got into an accident while he was driving with Christine, and she was to die.
Yeah.
And then what that sets up, as in him playing with the time stone, trying to go back in time and keep her from dying, and he just can't. She just keeps dying, and he can't avoid it.
I will say, I'll say this much. You should not watch this episode if you're feeling depressed literally at all. Good Lord. This episode was so dark and so like bleak and just sad. It was like so heartbreaking.
Yeah, even, I mean, and it's not a spoiler because you just said it, Robert, but like, I mean, Christine dying, I even thought was more graphic than what I was ready for with Marvel. Yeah. Like the scene. Yeah.
Yes.
It was crazy because like I like what they're doing with a lot of these episodes because right now they're kind of touching on stories. Pretty much every one of these have been stories that I haven't thought about. Like, you think like maybe the what if would be like, what if Tony Stark just never became Iron Man or something like that? Like, you think that would be the direction they go, but no, they're going in like completely different, very specific directions with these. Like, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? Like, who thinks about that? You know, unless these are like all originating from actual comic book storylines, it's actually kind of insane the level of depth and, you know, what they're able to come up with each of these episodes. I didn't think about this one at all. Like, because if you go back and you watch the movie, when he was in that car accident, Christine wasn't with him when he was driving. He was by himself. So I didn't think about what if there was an alternate universe where Christine was actually going with him to the event that he was going to. So it's kind of interesting the direction they went with this.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I was telling Chris before the stream that I actually haven't seen the Doctor Strange movie, so this for me was really interesting because I wasn't sure what I was supposed to know and what I wasn't supposed to know. But I find it interesting, and I'm aware that Doctor Strange is supposed to be a pretty selfish, narcissistic guy. And I'm aware that the accident kind of sends him on this journey, and he eventually becomes the Doctor Strange that we know in the later movies. So it's interesting to me of like that moment not happening gives us an entirely different like situation, Doctor Strange, which kind of makes sense because again, if he's this narcissistic, selfish guy, he needed that event to happen for him to be the Doctor Strange that we need in the later movies. So I like how they played with that. But yeah, same like you said, Chris, I wouldn't have guessed that this is where they would have taken it, especially with the Doctor Strange story, where they can kind of go all over the place with like the multi kind of dimensions and him time warping and everything.
Yeah. The thing I like about this is this is coming off of the heels of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, in which in that trailer we saw, sorry if y'all are trying to avoid, like, I'll try to keep this to a minimum, but we see in the trailer that Peter is asking Doctor Strange to cast a spell to reverse everyone's knowledge of Peter being Spider-Man. And like in the trailer, you even see Wong is telling Doctor Strange, like, don't do it, don't cast that spell, all kinds of finger wagging going on there. This doing that kind of a spell would have implications. If you've seen the first Doctor Strange movie, again, no spoilers for Tory, but there's a part of that does involve like messing with time, and they told him like, hey, when you mess with time, there's going to be consequences for this. Well, this is showing, this one particular episode of What If is showing what some of those consequences could potentially be. And I love it because, again, we're talking about the consequences of them messing with time in that Spider-Man trailer. So this is all kind of connected to the MCU as it stands right now. And because of like WandaVision and Loki, we're already familiar with these other multiverse, these other dimensions where things could happen. And this all is seemingly coming together, which is hugely ambitious for a movie series to do. And I'll think back to, was it 2008 when the first Iron Man came out? I never thought we would be getting to the point in these movies where it would feasibly make sense to hit a multiverse. But that's what we're doing, and the Marvel is doing a fantastic job of setting that up in their storylines to where it will make sense when these movies come out.
Yeah.
Do you think that was really interesting about the Spider-Man trailer connection? And again, I'm not going to spoil that because I know there are people out there who don't want to watch the trailer. But do you think the dropping of the Spider-Man trailer was intentionally right before this episode, or do you think it was just an arbitrary thing?
It's connected.
Yeah.
Isn't
that so crazy though that like someone has to sit there and be like, well, this is when the trailer is going to drop because this week on Disney Plus is when we're doing this episode. Like, who's sitting there at the Marvel like studios with like that
would be Kevin Feige.
Yeah. So the real interesting part about that is though is that you have that you have what you're describing there. Someone's like got the web up on like the whiteboard or whatever, and like the yarn is like connecting everything.
But Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny, like it's all connected.
Even more so is that how did everything shift because of the pandemic?
Yeah.
So like
that person had a bad day at work.
Take it all down, redo it all, put it all back up.
We're still having a bad day at work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see any implications that this episode has in both Spider-Man and in Multiverse of Madness. I think there's definitely going to be at least a few. It's weird because it's in a situation where those movies might not reference anything that happens here, but also like the way they handled this episode and what they were doing different with this episode than they did with some of the prior episodes already. There is a world where I do think that you could see a connection here just because of how can't spoil just how characters are doing things.
It teaches you more about how the whole thing works, like the whole multiverse thing works, right? It's like we learn as an audience what are the consequences, what can really happen, how is Doctor Strange going to behave in certain situations, which I think it seems like Doctor Strange in general is going to play a bigger part in like the next phase because he's seemingly all over the place at this point in the movies and the shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So very good episode. Once again, I don't think we need to spend like too much time about this, but once again, the animation, gorgeous, just beautifully done.
Why was Doctor Strange's cheeks like so red though? I was like, he looks like Santa Claus in it.
Because Benedict
Animation choice.
Benedict Cumberbatch is British.
He's British. Oh, so he has red cheeks constantly.
I mean, I have
from New York, but
I have red cheeks, and I'm not British. I say y'all a lot. Y'all.
Are you saying you're Benedict Cumberbatch?
Sure, that's what I want to say. I'm saying that on the stream.
Yes.
I don't know
I'm Benedict Cumberbatch, and
I got nothing for that. Move on.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So one of the things we like to do around here is talk about movies that we've seen since the last time we did the tagline. So Torie, since the last time we've done the tagline, other than Candyman, have you seen any new movies? And also anyone who's watching live, let us know in the chat, what new movies have you seen, and would you recommend it or recommend to pass? What's your thoughts? Torie, we'll start with you.
So crazy enough, like a week ago, I believe, I watched the original House on Haunted Hill. Chris, I'm guessing you haven't seen that because you're not a big horror person, but Robert, have you seen that?
I have not.
The original Vincent Price?
Yes.
I have not seen that.
Okay. Even if you don't like horror, I think it was just a fun time. I mean, you know, it has like that old-fashioned horror kind of thing going on, or like the lines are really dramatic, and anytime there's like anything scary happening, it's almost funny. So my roommate and I watched it together, and it was definitely like a funny time to watch. And I would actually, I would recommend it. I think it was, it's interesting to see how far horror has come, especially seeing Candyman this week, of just like the opposite ends of the spectrum of where we are. But I still think it kind of holds up as a movie. There are some good scenes, some good moments. I really liked watching it, and I definitely, it inspired me to put a lot of, I make like a Halloween movie list every October of like a movie to watch every day. I think a lot of people do that at this point. And I definitely put a lot of older movies on there because now I want to go back and watch like the original like Night of the Living Dead I haven't seen, and like a lot of those older movies I would really like to watch, and like Invasion of the Body Snatchers I haven't seen. So I really want to go back and watch those. I thought it was fun. So.
Yeah. So for those of y'all just joining us, Torie is joining us tonight, and she likes horror movies, which is a refreshing take on being able to talk to someone about horror movies, isn't it?
Stop it.
I know we're all doing the Brady Bunch thing, like
carry on, maintain professionalism.
God, is that you?
Yeah, so that's good, because those are some of the ones, like, I know me personally, I would like to be able to go back and catch up on is some of the original. Like I know of the story of House of Haunted Hill. I know what it's doing. I would like to dive more into some like those original like horror classics, especially anything involving Vincent Price. So like that, the original House of Wax, just a lot of good stuff that he's in. So I want to catch up on those. I feel like a lot of those could be like some classic ones that like even my brother could enjoy. So
I think you'd like House on Haunted Hill, Chris, the original. It's a fun time.
Does it have more like your Get Out vibes?
It just is like they try to be scary, and you know it's cute. It's cute. It's cute, scary. A lot of puppetry.
It's adorable.
A lot of things on strings. Yeah,
this is Tim Franco.
Nowhere.
Yeah, you say the word horror. You say horror, and Tim Franco pops up. That's the way it works.
In the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you for dropping by, Tim. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some horror movies. So another horror movie a little bit later too. Chris, did you see anything new over this past week?
I don't think so. I think I'm actually like rolling through. This is odd because I'm talking about a TV show here. I'm still rolling through my my watching of Brooklyn Nine-Nine to catch up with that. So it's almost as if I have like time for maybe just like one thing, but not like different things. So once I'm like addicted on like a TV show, I literally just like to plow through that real quick before I move on to like picking something else to watch in the evening. So I'm almost done with that. When I'm done with that, I'll probably get back to watching some movies, especially because I got like a huge list that I'm probably about to go through on Twitter. So you guys want to stay tuned to that.
Yep.
I gotta watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I haven't caught it.
Good. It's so good.
Apparently,
so
it's a good show. So
it's really funny.
My brother's like choice of TV shows for comedy is usually pretty good because he's a fan of like Scrubs and How I Met Your Mother. I'm a fan of those and that kind of humor as well. So if he likes Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
mine's the same record as yours.
yeah, but yeah, mine is good because I've gone up against like people who could really give me a run for my money. I haven't gone up against like some lightweight like Travis Fishburne or whatever that could easily
4-0 in the league. So
yeah, that's because he hasn't played anyone of substance here. He needs to play like some of us big leaguers like myself or Maxwell or Montano.
You literally just said he didn't play anyone of substance, you ass.
Well, can't wait to see you play someone of substance as well. So Chris is more classy. Let me see. Yeah. Tim Franco saying he watched Jacob's Wife starring Barbara Crampton. So Barbara Crampton is very popular in the horror universe. If you're familiar with like Reanimator, The Beyond, she's one of those like scream queen actresses that pops up a lot, especially like in like not like your main major blockbuster horror. But and for the past week, other than Candyman, I caught up on. I finally watched Rudy. It's so good. I absolutely loved Rudy. It probably jumped to. I'm gonna have to rethink this, but I believe it may top my sports movies. Best sports movie I've ever seen. And yes, I've seen like Remember the Titans and Friday Night Lights. I've seen some of these movies that people typically refer to as a good sports movie. And geez, like Rudy was just so good. I cannot recommend it enough. So
it's up there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Rudy. I haven't seen most sports movies that people consider classics. I haven't seen any of the ones that you named. Not out of like any sort of reason. It's just I feel like I didn't grow up with them. None of my friends were like, hey, let's put on Friday Night Lights. So I just haven't had the chance to watch it. But I've heard really good things about Rudy. And I know about the Rudy chant. So, yeah. Don't know the context. I know the chant.
Yeah. Watching the movie when they start doing that, it like gives you like the chills. So I guess that's the connection since we're talking about horror movies also. But it gives you the chills just because you feel for this character and you almost feel like you're on the sideline with everyone just cheering him on as he goes out in the field. Just it's so good. Anyways, let's move on to some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
back to you.
I love.
I love that it cuts off right there. I mean, with Torie on here, we might as well have just let it play that one last word that Jim Carrey was gonna say.
Back to you.
Back to you. But, anyways, let's get into movie news. Chris, how's our box office looking after this past weekend?
It's looking pretty interesting, actually. Still, I mean, here's the thing. I'm really actually like box office is somewhat interested this weekend just because the number one movie is a movie that I didn't see. It's fine. We'll probably talk about it later. It's okay. But the box office is going to be interesting not only this week, but watching it for next week as well, because Shang-Chi's coming out this weekend. So watching how that one performs is actually like pivotal. I know a lot of people got their eyes on that one in terms of, do we continue releasing movies for the rest of this year? Do we kind of push them back? Is there a worry about the Delta still going all over the place and doing its thing? It's the best way I could describe how viruses work, I guess.
Doing its thing.
Welcome to the Virus Fanatics, where we sit here and talk about the ins and outs of a virus. In which, if we start talking about that, people will probably take what we say as like the actual fact and tell everyone else about it. So,
well, Delta's really hitting at the clubs. Like she's doing great. She's spreading all over.
But y'all don't need a mask. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Look, see, people on the internet have told me that Delta is taking over, but we don't need masks, so I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
YouTube's done.
Torie, I would like to take this time to say I really do appreciate you being here on this show tonight. We're all having a blast so far, so thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Candyman's
I'm
number
happy.
one in
This
the
is
box
fun.
office right now.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Candyman did pretty good over this last weekend. It's hit about 22 million. I believe that we are looking at we're just domestic here, so 22 million. Not too bad for a box office that's happening and kind of still in the tail end, I guess, of this pandemic. But the thing is that Free Guy is sitting there holding strong at number 2, guys, sitting at 13 million for this weekend. It's only had like another 28% drop off, which is not bad. That thing's got great word of mouth. It's got great legs for this time period that we're in. So that's fantastic. This one, though, is interesting to me. Number 3, we still got Paw Patrol. Like, we got a family movie that's still sitting in the top 3, and I think that's huge, actually, because that means there's still a lot of people who are, for some reason, comfortable with bringing their family out to the theater. So that's
not streaming anywhere, is it?
I don't think so. I don't think that one is.
You got to go see Paw Patrol. You got to risk it for Paw Patrol.
Yeah,
I mean, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Risk it for the dog biscuit, guys. The joke was right.
Apparently, it is available on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so that might explain part of what it is. I think this box office might be including some of the streaming numbers too. So
if they're given,
yeah, if they're given, which I
think
Amazon does.
What was it? Was it Disney? Yeah, it was Black Widow that we knew. Disney did also report the how many people purchased the premiere access on Disney Plus. So
that's pretty cool. You got Jungle Cruise is sitting in number 4. Don't Breathe 2, number 5. Respect at number 6. Suicide Squad still holding in the top 10 at number 7. Protege bumped all the way down to number 8, which it was at number 7, I believe, last week. The Night House, which that's kind of a small release, I guess. Haven't heard too much about that.
Yeah, it's a horror movie, more kind of indie-ish for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That explains a lot for me. And then Old is holding its spot at number 10, surprisingly.
Old?
So
Old, yeah. Old is still in the top 10.
Reminiscence isn't even on there anymore.
Nope. Reminiscence bumped out. Black Widow's still out. So that's interesting. I think, we'll talk about a little bit more about the interesting aspect of why Candyman being at number 1. But, I think I would say it's not too surprising, especially since Candyman's starting to get some pretty decent word of mouth. And I think we're going to see that one holding in the top 3 spots going into next weekend also. But it will be interesting to see if it bumps down to number 2, if Free Guy stays in the top 3. But we know for a fact Shang-Chi is going to be in the number 1 spot. It's just a matter of how well does it perform, and is that a good sign of movies being released for the rest of this year. I know we've got big stories coming up with a few of those movies bumping out of this last part of the year and into next year. So we'll see. We shall see. But interesting numbers on the box office there.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious as to. I'm willing to bet Candyman is going to drop to number 2, probably Free Guy 3. Yeah, Shang-Chi is going to be ruling the box office because that has so much like good word of mouth, and everyone's again eager for like a new Marvel property. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes.
Have that be the top 3 and get that damn dirty puppy movie out of the top 3. Get rid of that Paw Patrol. Get it out of there.
Damn dirty puppy movie.
Damn dirty puppy movie.
That thing right out of the top 3.
Sounds like we're the fanatics of another kind of cinema, but moving on to other movie news that's like general public and not like news that's behind a curtain in the back of a video rental store.
What video rental stores are you going to?
Maintain professionalism.
It's been a while. Like video rental stores, I believe they've pretty much all like ceased to exist. We had like a couple of good ones here in Austin that were like very indie, like the last remains of a video rental store. They were super cool to go into.
Yeah.
But like even they've closed down. I'm like, I'm so sad. They were just.
I remember Blockbuster, but that's about it.
Yeah, we had like a couple of ones here, like Vulcan Video, iHeart Video. Those were, those were all like really super interesting to go into. Even if you're not renting a movie, just walking into those places, they were just, I loved it.
Blast from the past. Yeah.
Yeah. So over this past week, we did have a couple of announcements of sequels happening. Obviously, Jungle Cruise is doing very well, so we're going to get a sequel to that, which I know Dwayne Johnson is very excited about because this is the first time he's got a sequel to a movie that he's helmed that like originates with him. He hasn't started a franchise and had a sequel in his own franchise that is because of him. So not like the Fast and Furious movies where he joined in at the 5th movie
or Jumanji.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy though to think about for a second? Like he's been in so many movies, I feel like
but he's never had he's never had the full reign of a movie himself. Yeah.
I think we really missed the boat on getting a Tooth Fairy too.
Yeah. We so missed that. I wish we could do the
What was the football one he was in with his daughter?
Oh, was that The Pacifier?
That was
that's Vin Diesel.
Is that Vin Diesel? Okay.
Don't get them confused, man.
Oh, no. Gridiron Gang.
Is that what it is?
Was his daughter?
Yeah. Where his daughter plays football?
Well, he was also a football player in Tooth Fairy, and I think that one is the one with his daughter. Because the daughter was the one losing the teeth. Anyways. So
Tooth Fairy.
I lost what I was saying.
Yep, good job. So The Rock is doing Jungle Cruise 2. That's happening. Other sequels that are happening, guys, we got word about is Expendables 4. They are looking at getting that thing off the ground. So that's what I'm surprised at. Tooth Fairy. Oh, God.
That would be a great name.
Tonight, the part of Garth will be played by Hamstrakt with the just as excellent puns on the movie titles there. Thank you, Hamstrakt, for that.
Yeah.
Another Expendables movie. I don't know, like that franchise was good for I think the first two, and then it just started becoming its own cliche. Especially because I think the third one, the game plan. Yeah. Game plan. Okay.
Point, Dwayne.
Yes. I remember that one.
And Dwayne, thank you for being here. Yeah. He was a hockey player in Tooth Fairy. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. So I think it was was it by the third Expendables movie, they switched to PG-13, which you don't stick all those action stars in a movie that is made for action to show off these action stars doing action and rate it PG-13. No, that's it's just weird. So I'm wondering if this next one's gonna still play to that. I know they did it to cater to a younger audience,
wider on,
but I feel like when you do that, you alienate your core audience that wants to see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Especially since now we live in a world where you have your Deadpools and your Logans and you have your Suicide Squads and you have all these movies. I mentioned just a bunch of comic book movies there, but they're kind of leading the pack and away from you don't necessarily need to have a PG-13. You can do an R-rated action movie and it's still going to find a big audience. So it would be interesting to see if they do actually revert it back to R for sure. And I think there's a likelihood that they will.
Yeah, I feel like Expendables just looks like a dad movie to me. So I'm cater to your dads. They're over 18. They just want to go and have a good action movie like John Wick. I feel like it gives me the same energy as a John Wick. Fast and the Furious has always been PG-13, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like they have they have enough to work with where they can do that. It's if I'm going to see a bunch of dude bros with guns and just tearing it up, I want it to be rated R. If The Protege was PG-13, I think it would have been kind of a letdown.
Yeah,
just a couple things would have changed about that movie for sure.
Yeah.
The big one on this is we've got an announcement that they're going to make a sequel to 1991's The Rocketeer, which I understand that this announcement caused PJ Campbell, the head writer over on the Movie Trivia Schmodown, to have a small heart attack and
Is he
probably
okay?
pass out for a while. I'm almost certain he's okay. It's his Twitter account that I'm worried about, because everyone and their mom started tagging him in every single bit of Rocketeer news, because he has done a fantastic job of letting the entire world know that he's a huge Rocketeer fan, including probably the best looking Rocketeer tattoo I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Rocketeer tattoos. Let me just put that out there.
At least 32.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I like about this one, when they originally said it, my first thought was like, hey, you got like Cliff Secord, Billy Campbell from the original one. Maybe this is him older and he's passing off the mantle of the Rocketeer to his son. That could be interesting. I believe Disney has come out and said that this movie is about a member of the Tuskegee Airmen taking over the role of the Rocketeer superhero. So I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to go too, because that actually sounds really intriguing. So I want to see how that's going to go, but I love the original Rocketeer as well. Fantastic movie. I believe that was directed by Joe Johnson, who also went on to do Jurassic Park 3 and Captain America: The First Avenger. I don't know, like Jurassic Park 3 is such a weird movie that's on his filmography.
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to mention that one ever. Just mention Captain
Alan,
America.
Like, he's a good movie. He's a good movie maker. I don't understand. Like, I'm gonna guess that's probably one of those, especially when you reach the third of the Jurassic Park series, that they're like so much studio interference and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna guess that's what happened, because he's proven himself as a good filmmaker.
So this Rocketeer sequel is being produced and starring David Oyelowo? Was that what it was? Or is he just producing it?
So I guess the last I heard is he's producing it and may be starring in it.
Get your woke movie off of my faggot Disney woke. Yeah, whatever.
Who is that idiot?
I don't know. Who are those idiots? There's a bunch of them out there. So this is going to be interesting. I think this is a really fascinating story to tell, because I only recently saw the only Rocketeer movie that we have so far. Mm-hmm. And by recently, I mean, it was probably within the last year or so. But it's kind of an interesting one to touch back on, and I wonder if Disney's moving forward on this just because they have Rocketeer on Disney Plus, and they were looking at the numbers of how many people have gone back and watched it over and over again, and have decided, based on these numbers, we should make a sequel. I mean, the sequel is going to be on Disney Plus. So I think the interesting thing here is that what does the streaming services actually provide in terms of numbers for old movies, and what is that telling studios in terms of creating new movies in the same franchises?
I don't know. Let's test this theory out. Okay, let's pick another movie on the platform and see if we can get it to get a sequel. So everyone who's watching, I'm gonna need y'all all to later on tonight, everyone start watching Darby O'Gill and the Little People or the Apple Dumpling Gang, and let's see if we can get another sequel. I know the Apple Dumpling Gang has had a sequel to it, so let's see if we can get a new one made.
I knew you were gonna go with the Apple Dumpling Gang. You think Don Knotts can come back? No, probably not.
No.
Is VeggieTales Disney?
No.
You remember that movie? What was that movie?
The VeggieTales movie? Was that Larry the Cucumber is a superhero or something like that?
That was the movie that in elementary school they'd put on whenever the teacher had to go to a meeting.
I just want to know. I want to see, is there anyone who clicked on this video because they saw we were talking about Candyman, and the second they click on it, the first thing they hear is oh, what about VeggieTales? Yeah, Larry the Cucumber. Let's talk about that. What the?
It's all connected.
Yeah. That's it. The religious superhero vegetables. Yeah. We're not talking about Candyman. We're talking about Larry the Cucumber as the superhero. Was a Larry Boy, where he's got plungers for his ears. Whatever.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's funny. Welcome to our Candyman talk. Anyways, yeah. So I'm eager for this Rocketeer sequel. Movies moving. We got a lot of these. This was announced today, where like they're still Hamstrakt. I'm just here for the Darby O'Gill talk. Yeah, that's right. The Cheeseburger song is kind of a banger, though. No shame.
He's actually right.
I'm
Tim
telling
Franco
you,
pops up for the horror and stays for the VeggieTales talk.
VeggieTales is following.
Yeah.
Important.
So we got a lot of announcements of movies that are moving right now. So apparently we're still stuck in this weird pandemic thing. Go figure. People aren't getting the vaccine or masks or whatever. That's aside.
Reality.
Top Gun Maverick has been pushed back to May of next year.
No, it's probably okay.
Oh.
No.
Was it Mission Impossible 7? They announced the release date's going to be September of next year. And then Ghostbusters Afterlife has been pushed just 1 week into the spot that Top Gun was holding on to. So now Ghostbusters will come out on November 19th.
And then there's one
as of right now.
There's also one other that got pushed back. Jackass 4, guys. Jackass 4 got pushed to next year as well.
Do you think the movie, because I feel like October was like a stacked month, and like the next two or 3 months were going to be stacked. Do you think there's any chance that part of this decision, or part of the reason why some of these movies are moving and others aren't, is actually a behind the scenes discussion of like people being like, we can't have 4 movies coming out in one weekend? You know, Jackass, people looking at what else is coming out that weekend or the weekend before and being like, we're already dealing with like bottom of the barrel in terms of money and numbers. So like we can't be splitting our audience that way. Do you think that has anything to do with some of the moving that's going on here, especially like a week? Like, to me, a week isn't a pandemic thing. That's a you on a weekend for your movie.
And I think you are 100% spot on. I think that's actually the whole and entire reason why these things are moving. I don't think it doesn't have much to do with the pandemic, other than what the pandemic has led to a lot of these movies being released during this part of the year anyway. Outside of that, it's 100% because there's just so many big name movies coming out every single weekend for the rest of this year that people want to make sure they have enough of the piece of the pie. They want to make sure, these studios want to make sure that they're getting their money in and getting, enough space within these weekends in order to make their money.
Which is nice, because that's going back to the way it was.
Yeah,
it used to be like the ones that are big tentpole blockbusters. They would plant their flag in a date, and then you would see easily the people who are the movies of lesser standard, I guess is the way to put it, would try to plan around that tentpole. Yeah. So they knew to stay out of the way of those movies. Now you've got all these movies trying to come out all at once. So tent poles are trying to plant their flag still, and everyone else is wanting to be seen as well.
Yeah, and to me, like, if I was the Top Gun team, I would say May is like your prime month in the pandemic. May is like your start of your summer season. Kids are out of school in most of the country. Like, it seems like May, June, and July, there's like this window that we've seen with the pandemic where it kind of calms down in most places. So I feel like that move made sense to me. I wouldn't want Top Gun being near Thanksgiving where it's probably going to spike again. I would want Top Gun and any big action movie, any big movie to have that May, June, July slot. And like, when did Venom get moved to? That was another one I saw.
Venom was going to be at the end of September. It's been moved to mid-October, like October 15th.
I feel like October was getting really crowded, and that I think they just had to make choices about people who were going to move and people who weren't, or else like if you had to choose between seeing Venom, Jackass, and like Halloween or something in the same weekend, like I feel like that would be a pretty hard divide of the same type of people who are going to see Jackass would probably want to see Halloween, would probably want to see Venom.
They're all catered to the same demographic.
That's the big thing, is you always want to make sure, like, if you're a studio releasing a movie, like if it's a big movie like that, it's the reason why something like Paw Patrol can stay in the top 3 is you want counter programming to whatever the big movie is. Like Paw Patrol is going to stay in the top 3 when Candyman comes out, because little kids are going to go see the little puppy police. They're not going to go see, a dude with a hook slashing people. Yeah, or the protege. It's just, it doesn't work. So I think the sign here of what you were saying being the case is that Ghostbusters is just moving that 1 week. It's because a movie like Ghostbusters Afterlife wants to have that space. They want to have as much room as possible to make as much money as possible. And the best way to do that is to give themselves that week buffer so they're not coming out right next to something else that could, cannibalize their audience a little bit. So,
yeah. And Hamstrakt saying Dune over all of them. If the sequel is going to be the second half of the book, that movie needs to happen. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that's what Marvel has been having to contend with, is that their movies need to be coming out so the other movies can come out. It's not like, say, like this Top Gun movie. They're going to drop it, and then there's probably not going to be another Top Gun movie
for a while.
Maybe. But I mean, as far as we know, this is just a one-off. So this isn't depending on anything else coming out in the future or right now. So
yeah,
like Dune and Marvel, they've all got other things coming out afterwards that they're planning for.
Like Black Widow had to come out, so Shang-Chi could come out, so Eternals could come out, so Spider-Man could come out, because they're relying on an entire shared universe of actors who are going to get too old or their contracts are going to expire at some point. So they need to get those movies out so they can continue doing the storylines. So or
you got stuff like the Disney Plus shows, like Loki came out and was talking all about time and other dimensions and variants and stuff. That's something that needs to come out before we dive into this like multiverse of madness type of stuff. What Spider-Man's going to be talking about. So while you're talking about Venom 2, we did get word today and a nice new poster. Venom 2 has been officially rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association of America, and I can't say that for some weird reason. But yeah, nice new poster, floating head, very reminiscent of the Dune poster we have. I like this because it gives us our first like good, clear look of exactly the type of feeling and emotion we're going to get from Woody Harrelson's Cletus Cassidy Carnage here. And his new hair, which is like head and shoulders above his hair beforehand.
Was that a pun? Was that a pun?
It wasn't, and then I realized it actually still fits. I was like,
it's looking proud of this one. Very suave. It's like a dove flying away, like shampoo brands. Really?
His hair is very like pert plus extra stuff. So I mean, yeah, okay. Hey, by the way, even though we've got this nice new overlay for Tori's name, we still got the Vision in there. So
beautiful.
Bye, Tori.
Just cover me whenever I curse. Just put the Vision over me. Just censor me.
What the? Anyways, so Venom 2 PG-13. So real quick, I don't know again how many people are familiar with the comics, the source material. This is a movie that's going to be about Cletus Cassidy Carnage, which in the comic books he's a serial killer. In the cartoons, they had to downplay the serial killerness of it because you can't put a serial killer in a kid's Saturday morning cartoon, so they called him a maniac in the 90s Spider-Man. But here we are. We're in a movie that's going to be PG-13 with a serial killer who in the comics is known for violently ripping people up. In his first comic or his first appearance storyline, he actually would cut himself and write words on walls in his own blood. This isn't happening in a PG-13 movie. So when I hear that this is PG-13, there's a part of me, the childhood version of me, that's like, oh, we're not going to get the carnage that I feel like we should get, like the pure, like carnage of the comic book character, not using his name as a adjective, not the actual person. Yeah. But we're not. I feel like we're not going to get that, or if we do, it's going to be very dark and very hard to see. Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed by that, but I still have hopes in the overall character and how they make the movie. The first Venom movie was surprisingly much better than I thought it was going to be. So
Who would have seen that one coming? That's the thing is, I think this kind of story, it being PG-13, the only people this really affects are the people who like really loved the character from the comics. Your general audience is going to be like, cool, sounds good, I'll go see it. And that's that. And that's why they made it PG-13, is because you're going to get this. This isn't like a situation like The Expendables where people would like, yeah, no, I want this to be rated R. This is a comic book movie where people are like, I want to bring my kids to the comic book movie. And the only way to do that for a movie like this, especially when, Venom was PG-13, is, they want to bring in those numbers of the families who are like, oh, we know these Spider-Man characters and it's kind of like Spider-Man, but it's whatever. Yeah. It was no surprise that this is going to be PG-13. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to me, this is again, just like them knowing that a lot of teenagers and that kind of demographic is going to want to see this more so than I think, again, like the hard, like I think people who are going to go see Venom, whether it was rated R, are still going to go see it. And they know that. I don't think it really cuts an audience out when you do that kind of change. I think people will be upset, but I don't think it changes their mind about going to see it. Especially if it gets good reviews. But yeah, I think it is just a way of people being able to say like, oh, like teenagers can go see it and families can go see it versus it being like the Suicide Squad where it's not really meant for that.
Yeah. Last thing I want to talk about real quick before we jump into the Candyman review is it was announced that the DC fandom is coming back on October 16th. So that will be a live stream all day that Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. As you can see in this really super cool graphic, there's a lot of stuff they're going to be talking about. I know the focus for this channel is definitely going to be a new trailer for the Batman. But I know there's other things I'm kind of curious about, like exactly what are they going to show or talk about in regards to Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and that Peacemaker show on HBO. That's the other things I'm like really interested in. Depending on if we get anything else in regards to Flash, Black Adam, Aquaman. Some of those might be interesting as well, even though, as everyone knows on this channel, I am not a huge Aquaman fan, but I'm eager to see what they might do with this character because this movie was all right. And that's where everyone thumbs down this video like they do any of our videos where we talk about Aquaman and I'm just like crapping all over how much I hate that character.
He doesn't like the fish boy.
I haven't seen the movie, so I'm kind of worse off.
It's a good movie. Like, honestly,
it's a fun movie.
Honestly, like when I heard they were making an Aquaman movie, I was like, this movie's just going to be boring and dull and just, I hate this character. It was actually a good movie. It was enjoyable. It's not my favorite, but again, that's just because I don't like the character. But that aside, it was a really good movie. I thought they did a very good job on it. So,
maybe another one.
This has all of my interest because if you recall, on our channel last year when they were doing the DC fandom, it was really good for our channel.
Oh yeah. Because we ended up we did like 3 or 4 trailer reactions all at once,
back to back.
Like these came out and we filmed, stop. And then like I was editing a trailer reaction while we were filming the next trailer reaction almost. Like it was the fastest I feel like we've ever put out reactions and just it was super quick.
Do you remember which trailers it was?
Thank you so much, Hamstrakt.
I know the first Batman trailer came out during the fandom and that was the one that was really good for us.
Yeah, this is the Batman.
Is that the one where it's Robert Pattinson and
yeah.
That's a good trailer.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
It was Batman, Wonder Woman 84. I think Suicide Squad might have been in there. And then there was like one other or something. I can't remember, but yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to the DC fandom because that's an event that actually they did really well last year during like the middle of the pandemic. And they presented it in such a fantastic way because they made it like you were actually attending a convention type situation and you could sit comfortably in your home, not worry about anything, not worry about being around a bunch of people getting sneezed on and whatnot. And it's something that like a lot of people criticized Comic-Con for not jumping on when DC was able to pull off such a great event and Comic-Con was like, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do with it this year. I think they've generated enough hype around it last year that this is going to be good this year. And I also really appreciate that they gave us like over a month's heads up on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Batman fan. Anything Batman that comes out, I'm all over. That first Batman trailer, I'm not even kidding you. I was like in the middle of a walk outside and it came out and I like stopped what I was doing just in the street and I was like, I need to watch this. I'm so excited for it. So any kind of Batman DC content, I just get very excited for. Really easy. So it's always exciting when that stuff comes out because now that I have a Twitter, I can like keep up with like all the ones that are dropping as soon as they drop. So it'll be cool.
Yeah.
So let's get on to this Candyman review. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. So Candyman, guys,
He just comes back with a hook.
Yeah.
There.
I know he's gonna go look for one. You're gonna have to get like probably like a wire hanger and bend it. Yeah. Something like that. So yes, needless to say, my brother did not watch this movie. Go figure. But I did because I like horror movies, and apparently, so did Torie here. So let's talk about this Candyman movie.
It's not wire, it's plastic.
Oh, okay. So like, don't say Chris Adams in front of a mirror 5 times, otherwise he'll come attack you with his plastic coat. Clothes hanger.
His FCL character just comes up.
The gentleman with like a clothes hanger. Yeah. So here's the thing. Right off the bat, this was a good movie. And this was one I was actually kind of contemplating whether or not I wanted to go see it in the theater. I know there was like a lot of hype around it just because it had a lot of people, a lot of good word of mouth before. Oh, geez. It had a lot of good word of mouth beforehand.
It's just keep coming back more developed.
And I like the idea that this one was actually produced by Jordan Peele. So I feel like that's what really kind of helped like to sell it. Jordan Peele been known for doing Get Out and Us. He's come with like really good original stories. But now he's working on producing a story that comes from a known IP. The original Candyman, it's a good movie. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought the pacing of it was pretty slow, and it was very focused more on story than it was like on action per se. As an adult now, I went back and watched it, and it is a lot more interesting. There's a really good amount of social commentary that happens in that original movie, but the social commentary that they do in this new one, I feel like, is a lot better. It's a lot stronger. There was a lot of buzz surrounding Candyman. I was hooked from the beginning. There you go.
I like it.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I will actually say I think this one is better than the original Candyman movie. So
yeah, I haven't seen the original, so I just kind of went in blind. I mean, I liked Jordan Peele's other movies, and I thought it had like an interesting tone from the trailer with like the song choice. I was like, okay, is this going to be a little goofy? Is it going to be like kind of your standard slasher movie? Like, what's going to happen here? And I really enjoyed it. I really like the new age of like horror movies that have social commentary within them or kind of focus on trauma and how it affects characters. Like, I feel like we got like with Get Out and Us, but also like Midsommar, Hereditary, a lot of newer age horror movies are focusing on like family dynamics or like relationship dynamics, Invisible Man. And I really love that. And I was really hungry for more of it. And then the pandemic kind of came right as I feel like that wave was happening of really good horror movies that have that good social commentary. I feel like Candyman is like right back at it, where it's like I definitely had moments where I was like, oh, this could have been done better. The runtime I thought could have been a little longer to delve out points a bit more. But overall, I mean, it was a fun time. I think if I'm looking for a scary movie, I definitely would watch it again. I thought it was interesting. And the more I've like thought about the movie, the more I've liked it. It's one of those movies that I think I went into it not sure what to expect. I got out a bit surprised at some of the stuff that I saw in it. And thinking about it more, I'm like, what? Like, they were really bold in a lot of the choices they made. And a lot of the scenes in it, I just thought were really unique and special. Obviously, I can't go into detail about what specific scenes, but just the scenes where they have like that social commentary in there and they use horror to like really express it, I thought was really well done and really creative. I would say this movie is very creative. Like I walked out of it and I was like, there's a lot of things in there that I thought were just bold and interesting, and a lot of body horror stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Again, no spoilers, but there are bees involved, and there are some like things going on, and some what's that? Is it like trichotillomania, where like people who don't like lots of holes being near each other?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? It's like a thing. Definitely a lot of that going on, which was cool, and again, like creative. And I think it was. Yeah, so I thought it was a fun time. I was definitely impressed when I walked out of it, and I would like to see it again for sure.
See, that's what would have me like interested, because like these types of horror movies, like Get Out and Us, like these are the kind that I'm interested in. They're not gory. They're not like that's the thing that I kind of dislike the most, is when they're like overly graphic with like parts of the humans being outside and they should be inside kind of thing. That's the kind of stuff that I don't like. But if it's something like a Get Out or an Us, and I guess sounds like even this one, where we're utilizing horror as the vehicle to convey a loftier point or a better idea of some sort. That's the kind of horror movie that I would be more interested in. Again, gore aside. So.
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely a suspense first for me. Yeah. Like it was a drama / suspense first. I would say, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the movie is actual like horror. A lot of the movie is just like suspense, building up, intrigue, mystery, thriller. There's not really a lot of those like classic horror, like Friday the 13th, where you're going to see someone get like their throat cut open for 15 minutes. Like there's nothing like that. And so, I think you might like it. You might like it. You might want to watch it. Just check it out.
Yeah. There's not a huge focus on gore in this movie. There's a few parts that are just a little slightly cringy, but a lot of it is done in darkness or shadows, or definitely leaves it up to the imagination. And it's done very well. So if you're not a huge gore person, this movie would still work for you. In fact, I would almost say like Us was gorier than this was. So if you can handle Us, you could handle Candyman.
Wasn't gory.
Kind of. Still. Now, I see a couple of comments in here. There's definitely some comments, and there's some other things I still want to add to this. But Hamstrakt, I completely forgot about this. Yes, the opening logos. So I was in a weird position that when the actual movie started, I was sitting there like on the edge of my seat, like hurry up and show like a sign or some like I guess it opens with like the row homes in Cabrini Greens. I was like, show me like an address placard or something. Show me letters or numbers to prove to me that the camera is the right way and that y'all did that on purpose with the logos. It like threw me off for the whole beginning of the movie. And then the second I saw that they were normal, I was okay. But the opening logos and everything are backwards. Like the Monkey Paw Productions that Jordan Peele does, they're backwards. So
like
yeah, exactly.
But
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, like in the whole movie is like it's a change of perspective for like traditional horror tropes. It's kind of like this very white perspective. Like it's not really anything, again, like social commentary, where like in this movie, it's a different perspective. It's of like a Black man dealing with a lot of trauma, especially in what was the name of the city again?
Well, they're in Chicago. The area that they're in is Cabrini Greens, which was an actual that actually existed in real life. It was like the projects type area. It had a lot of crime, a lot of gangs. So a lot of what they were talking about that happened in this movie actually did happen in real life, with the exception of like the actual Candyman story and everything involving Helen Lyle from the first movie. All that was, of course, fictional, but the contemporary stuff they were talking about, that was all true. So gotcha. that's what's really good about this horror movie, is that actually is rooted in what did actually exist at that time, and also being based off of a Clive Barker short story. So
Yeah,
That's
and
kinda
I
cool.
mean, it's like the perspective thing of someone's perspective of who grew up in it, who it's personal to, who's really delving into the trauma of it versus like these outsiders, right? Who come in, they learn about it, so they think they know everything about it. In this case, it was a lot of like the white characters who are actually ignorant to what it's really like. And I feel like, yeah, like they did a lot of like perspective change things that I thought was interesting. And I think I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think the opening logo thing was kind of that of like the mirror changing your perspective of what's going on.
What I like about this is the first time that so there's been 3 Candyman movies already. This is the first time that one has been made by a black person. Like they've all been done by like white people, and here let us white people tell you where the black people stand in this storyline and this like it's really weird. Like I know Candyman typically it gets like good nods from like the black community, but at the same time this is one where it's really in the hands of people who know what the story should be about, and they're accurately telling it. And you can see there's a lot more personal connection, even though we don't see the director, we don't see Nia DaCosta in this, we don't see Jordan Peele. You can see that they have a lot more hands-on and they're a lot more dedicated emotionally to this particular story that they're telling from that. That being said, because of that, I definitely see Jordan Peele's influence. Again, coming off of like Get Out and Us, he's had like a lot of social commentary in his movies. You can see it in this as well. But you also see Nia DaCosta's artistic style in this. Like Commentating Nerd is saying, best shot movie of the year. This is a gorgeous movie. The framing of it, the cinematography is it's very odd for me to notice the cinematography in a horror movie. But when you go and you do something like this, what this movie did, I'm absolutely thrilled that I saw this movie in a movie theater. That I decided to go see it. I was hesitant, but I decided to go see it, and definitely worth every penny seeing this in the theater. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, so. I completely agree. And there's again, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a particular scene where there's a big perspective change with like a traditional horror movie scene. It's like you think you know what is about to happen. You think you know you've seen it before in other horror movies, and she changes the perspective, and the way she shoots it really changes the scene for me. And it's pretty early on. Robert, I'll talk to you later about it. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about, it makes the scene so much more interesting, just the way she shoots it. She just flips a common horror trope on its head and like subverts your expectations with the way she shoots it. And yeah, I thought the movie itself was beautiful. And I just thought that she did a lot of interesting choices that really added to the movie overall.
Yeah. The other thing I want to touch upon is, well, first of all, I'll bring back, talk about Nia DaCosta. She is, because of this movie and how it performed this past weekend, she is the first black female filmmaker to have a #1 movie in the box office. So, yeah, this Nia DaCosta, fantastic filmmaker already just with this movie alone. She is also in charge of helming the Captain Marvel sequel for the MCU, the Marvels. So you've got that coming. So I am now super eager to see what she's going to bring to that, because that's going to be a movie that is also going to play like this movie had like a lot of connection to like the black community. That movie's going to have a lot of like female empowerment messages in there, and I think she's going to do it right, where it's not like super in your face and like make sure you pay attention. We're trying to be socially topic, and like when people are talking about, I guess, like woke culture or whatever, we're trying to put this right here in front of you. Yeah. I think it's going to be very well done. It's going to be very tasteful. But yeah, I love the fact that she's hit this with this movie. And again, this is a movie I didn't think was going to bring that kind of an acclaim, but it did, and I can see why. And I love that about this. I want to talk about the actors also, but Torie, did you have any thoughts on Nia DaCosta?
You hit it. I was going to mention it, but I'm so excited for her to direct that, the Marvels movie. I didn't really like Captain Marvel. I love the character. I love some of the scenes in that movie, but overall, I think it was very like Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad to me, where it was just like hitting me over the head. I just felt like it was like Marvel being like, we finally gave you a woman movie. Here you go. Like it didn't feel like it was really cared for. To me, yeah, like it didn't feel like there was this like heart in it that I was missing, and I think that there's a lot of heart in this movie that you feel, and I'm hoping and I'm thinking that she'll be able to carry that over. I guess she wrote and directed for Candyman, and from what I could tell when I was Googling about it, she's only directing for the Marvels. She's not going to be part of the writing team, so it may change a little bit. But I just think, like we were saying, like the way she shoots certain scenes adds so much dynamic to it. So I'm really hopeful that she'll add more heart into the sequel, which is what I'm really looking for with like the Captain Marvel sequel, because I love her character. I think there's a lot of ways you can go with her. I'm really interested in the character. It's just like the movie itself, I just felt like wasn't really directed and wasn't really shot that well for Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I will also say a note real quick that it's incredibly shocking and also not shocking. It's really unfortunate that now we're just, I know like the whole thing is like in the current year of 2021, no, that it's taken this long to have a black female filmmaker have a #1 film in the box office. I think it's completely shocking that it's taken this long. The next closest one would have been Wrinkle in Time. But obviously we know that one kind of bombed a little bit in the box office, so it's just shocking to me that it's just taken this long for a movie to get to this point. But I guess it's also not shocking based on where we've been and where what's going on right now. So it's cool to finally see it happen, though. It really is. I think this is based on what you guys are saying. Obviously, I haven't seen the movie yet, but it sounds like it's well deserved. So I am super happy for it. And yeah, just like you guys are saying, I'm super excited now for the Marvels, because it's not just Brie Larson's Captain Marvel coming back, but you also have Teyonah Parris, like Nerd brought up, since she was in Candyman, her coming back, working with Nia DeCosta, and then we're also getting Miss Marvel from the Disney Plus show that's coming out soon. Is going to be in there too. So it's going to be a lot of like really dynamic, interesting things happening within that movie that I think Nia DeCosta sounds like is going to be the right person to have the director seat over.
And that's why I like that the Marvels is her next project, because Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, they've all proven so far that they're really good at letting the directors direct the movie and being like hands off. Like some of these movies that we've seen, you can definitely see, especially with some directors, like their flair, their touch on it. So I definitely believe, like, while she might not have like a writing credit for the Marvels, she's definitely going to have, you'll see her touch on that movie, and hopefully some of like the shots that they did in Candyman will translate over to the Marvels, and she'll have that perspective on there as well. Yeah. You mentioned like Teyonah Parris. I thought she was a standout in this movie. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing her work with Nia DeCosta again because of this movie, and now also because we have the background of Teyonah Parris's character from WandaVision being in this. So like we're already familiar with her character. Now we get to see her character that was actually a really, really good character in WandaVision teamed up with Nia DeCosta again for a MCU movie. I'm eager for that. Yep. Of course, you got to like Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, the lead from this. I think he did a fantastic job in it. The other one I really want to call out was Coleman Domingo. His character, he's the character that Yaya's character is going to find out exactly who the Candyman is. What's the story of Candyman? And Coleman Domingo's character, you've seen this actor before. He's one of those people who pops up in a lot of things. You're like, I've seen him somewhere before. This is going to be one of those movies I feel like he's going to be known for his role in this movie, and then in the future everyone's going to be like, oh, that's right, he was that one guy in Candyman. He did phenomenal in this.
He gets some interesting things to do in this movie that were really exciting, and he takes all of it. Like, he eats it all up, and he's given.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah, see? Exactly. Yeah. Y'all watching, like, quickly, like, Google a picture of him. You've seen his face before. You've seen him in other things. And, like, when he popped up on screen, I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting character, because he's typically, from what I've seen, he's played interesting characters before. So, and I was right. His character was super interesting, and was probably, like, the main storyteller of this movie, I would say. Like, everything really did, like, focus on what he was saying to Yaya. I just love it. That dude's name is Yaya, and he is awesome. I love that.
Yaya.
That's what I thought.
He is.
He's Black Bottom.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. He was the lead guy in the band in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yeah, he was so good in that too.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that character. Yeah. Anyways, Tori, thoughts on acting or anything else with it?
I was legitimately going to shout out the same two that you did. I thought Colin Domingo specifically, like, again, ate up what he was given. I feel like he was the gasoline to this movie. Like you said, he just tied a lot of things together. He really, like, takes what was Yaya's character's name?
Anthony.
He takes Anthony just into a different direction. I'm excited to see him in other movies. I didn't get to see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I really need to see that. But he's just so interesting to watch. Yeah, I would say this movie, there's so many interesting performances. Even, I'm not sure the actor's name, but the brother of the girlfriend.
Troy.
I'm bad with names. Good with faces.
Troy.
Bad with names. Yeah, they were good too. Even, like, the boyfriend, like, didn't get a lot of lines or a lot of scenes, but, like, I enjoyed them as well. Like, they just added a lot of heart into the movie and just, like, relatability. Like, I felt like a lot of the family scenes were really realistic. Yeah, so you shouted out the two, though, that came to the top of my head.
Yeah. So overall, gorgeous movie, very well shot, fantastic story, much better. I would actually say this is one of those movies that is much better than what the trailer made it out to be. The trailer made it out to be like almost your stereotypical horror movie with, like, maybe some, like, little extra bit. Real quick, I do have to shout out the paper puppet storytelling that you see in the trailer is done beautifully in the movie, and I think that was one of the best ways I've seen, like, any kind of what's that called? In a movie that tells the story so you follow.
Just recapping.
Exposition.
Oh, exposition. Yeah.
That was probably one of the best ways I've ever seen that done in a movie. Just the paper puppets are gorgeous, and
what was it? They used that to inform the audiences of kind of, like, the events of what happened in the first movie. So
pretty much, yeah.
Everybody who didn't necessarily see the first one could get caught up and understand what's going on now.
So they'd use it to tell, like, the characters of this movie, their perspective of what happened of the original movie. Like, the original movie is now its own fairy tale. It's its own tall tale. So they tell that story, and it's told with these puppets. Even though their perspective is different than what actually happened in the movie, they do go back later on. They also do, like, some of it, they do clarify, like, where that original story was wrong, type of thing. So, but yeah, those are beautifully, beautifully shot.
They're beautiful and they're creepy, which is, like, I would say that's how I would describe this whole movie. It's beautiful. It's creepy. Yeah.
So again, I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. I'm trying to see my rating on it on Letterboxd. I gave it a 4 out of 5. So yeah, I would say like a good 8 out of 10 if we're rating on a scale of 10. Tori, I know we didn't prepare you for this, but do you have, like, what you would think if you were doing a out of 5 or out of 10?
I would say out of 10, I would give it like a 6, honestly. Again, there were a 6 or a 7. There were things that, like, I would have changed about it. Again, that longer runtime. There were some pacing things that I thought were a bit quick. But overall, again, like there were scenes that I thought were super unique that I'd love to go back and watch. I'm going to go back and watch it again, which for me, for a horror movie is, always a big compliment because there's so many out there that you could go to. I'll definitely like add it on to my, Halloween October list in the future. So yeah, probably like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah. So anyways, if y'all haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Even if you just saw the trailer and you're like, maybe I'll check it out. No, not maybe. Go check it out. It's definitely worth it, especially if you see it in the theater. Just the aesthetics, the cinematography, gorgeous. Anyways, I believe that's going to do it for that review and for this tagline tonight. I know.
Already?
I know. Only an hour and like 25 minutes in. Yeah. So I swear, y'all, we're trying to shorten this and keep it under an hour, but
I dropped the F-bomb early and then we just didn't recover.
And everything was all fricked up from there. So, anyways, thank y'all for watching tonight. Torie, where can everyone find you at?
Luckily, I have Torie X Rose across every platform. I have recently made a Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter at Torie X Rose, like right at the bottom that where we have there. Same on Instagram, Torie X Rose. Same there, YouTube, Twitch. I'm all over the place. You'll find me in Ben Goddard's streams most of the nights. I hop into Chris's streams every now and then when I can. But yeah, Torie X Rose on most platforms. You can find me.
Do you think there's a chance, possibly, maybe, we could also find you here joining us for a tagline next week?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
Me?
Maybe.
Me?
Yeah.
You?
Me?
Yeah, that's right,
Yes.
guys. Tori's going to be joining us next week as well. So she's back-to-back guesting and having fun and hanging out and talking movies with us. So come back next week to see whatever her thoughts are on whatever movie news we got coming out next week too. So that's gonna be a fun one. But as far as the rest of the stuff that we got going on, guys, like we have talked about before, you're gonna want to hop on that Patreon. We're doing all sorts of fun stuff over there. We got the Discord you can jump into. We're doing like building a movie loving community over there. So if you want to hop in that Discord, join us. What's happening?
I was trying to see if I could pick her nose or whatever, but I mean, I don't know.
We need you to calm the frick down. So jump on the Discord over there, guys.
To the Patreon.
We're also doing watch alongs. We got movie trivia nights where like we've talked about before. The two of us up here, we are competitors in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown's First Class League. So we do have those nights where you can help us study and get prepared and ready for our matches, and hopefully we win them. And we haven't had such a great record so far, but that's because you guys haven't been in there yet. So you need to jump on the Patreon and come help us. That's how we win these matches.
Good job, sir. Guilt trip our audience. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Guys, that's how it works here. We are content creators, and content creators guilt trip people. So it's your fault that we suck and have not won yet. Anyway, guys, we want to thank y'all for jumping on there preemptively, because we know that after that spiel, you're definitely going to jump in the Patreon. So
yeah. Anyways, make sure you follow us, the Cinefanatics, at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me, Robert Adams, at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. My brother, Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitch.tv. Go over there. Make sure you check out Twitch.tv/Chris Adams for whenever he's doing his Pokemans thing or whatever that is. Go check that out. Subscribe to him, follow him, whatever it is you're supposed to do on Twitter. Do that as well.
Sounds older when you're talking about Pokemon. Jeez.
I mean, I could. I'm not going to, but I could. The Pokemans, yeah. Go check out the Pokemans with my brother, I guess. Guys, hop on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinefanatics. Even at the $1, you could join us on the Discord, where we're building a movie-loving community over there. We can talk about movies and stuff. Yes.
Redundancy. I said that already.
I know. You talked about, I'm talking about the Discord now. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for tonight. So thank y'all for watching. Thank you, Torie, for being here. We very much appreciate it. And your lovely commentary on the Candyman movie. It was really nice. It was a good review. I really enjoyed it. So Thank you for being
I like
here.
a scary movie.
Yeah, who doesn't? So thank y'all
Wait,
for
I missed it. It's reversed.
yeah. The learning the where to point on Windows. Yeah, it takes time to learn that. So, anyways, thank y'all for being here. If y'all are watching it live, we appreciate y'all being here. Nice to see y'all in the chat. I'm sure I'll write up some Darby O'Gill questions for you. Thanks.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. You know what's going to happen is we're going to get that question in the FCL and be like, God dang. Good thing Hamstrakt wrote up some Darby. Yeah.
What category is VeggieTales in? Drama.
Christian animated
Classic.
movies? I don't know. Probably a category that Jeff Snyder's never going to answer a question from. So.
Oh, okay.
It's a fake movie.
We love that you guys were here in the chat. We appreciate you being here. We're gonna go ahead and end it off there, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. From all
if y'all are watching this on a replay, let us know what you thought down below. We will see y'all next week. Make sure to like, comment, and share. See y'all later. Good night.
See ya.